Now I want to start this video by apologizing for the obscene language found in the title. Everybody knows nowadays calling something mid is like sending it straight to the trash. I'm serious, I'm pretty sure the fan bases of most pieces of media would probably get more offended at me calling the thing they like mid than just simply saying it's trash and a worthless piece of content. But yeah, we finally got a little gameplay snippet of Sonic Frontiers, the latest in the greatest video game franchise of all time. Oh, who the fuck am I kidding? Sonic as a whole is mid. And before you get your pitchforks out, I want to say this, I'm a huge fan of Sonic. I think the franchise's best entries are so unique that you can't really find anything like them out there, which is why I love the franchise so much. To this day, the only game I've ever played that isn't a 3D Sonic game that plays like a 3D Sonic game is Spark the Electric Jester 2. Sonic is fantastic, but we also have to acknowledge that a large portion of the games are kind of meh, if you know what I mean. Let's just take a look at this in more detail. Sonic 1, 2, and 3 and Knuckles, these are good games, great games even. Masterpieces, if you will. So what came after that? Well, there's Sonic 3D Blast, Sonic R, both mid games to say the least. In fact, some people might even consider them bad. After that, we got SA1, a game I love and am obsessed with replaying, but I only replay 1/6 of it. Seriously, half of this game is pretty fucking bad. Amy and Big's campaigns are awful, and depending on who you ask, either Knuckles' campaign or Tails' campaign are not so good either. That just leaves Sonic and Gamma as parts of the game that are consistently considered good. After SA1, we got SA2, a very, very polarizing game. A majority of people absolutely love a particular aspect of this game, whether that be the Shao Garden or the speed stages or hell, maybe even both. But most people do not enjoy a significant portion of this game. It could be the treasure stages or the mech stages, hell, some people might not even like the speed stages. But my point remains, the same with SA1 as SA2. There's only one or two aspects of this game that are consistently considered good. Then we got Sonic Heroes, another polarizing game. Some people think it's awful and they have very valid reasons. Some people think it's mid and they also have very valid reasons. And some people think it's great and once again they have very valid reasons. So what's next? Sonic 06. Now finally, we have a game that's consistent. Everybody fucking agrees that Sonic 06 is a terrible, broken game. Even people like me who don't necessarily hate the game because of nostalgia still agree that the game is fucking garbage. Now, what comes after the disaster that was 06? Oh, finally, we get a game everyone can agree is good, right? And everyone hates it for some unexplained reason. That game is Sonic Unleashed, a pretty solid game with a few bad elements, but it has one major flaw. More than 50% of the game is played as the Werehog, which is not a bad gameplay style. It's definitely better than the other fucking gameplay styles we get in the past games, but once again, that combined with the obnoxious metal collecting system and the tediousness of 100% completing the game, making completionists absolutely hate it, has made Sonic Unleashed into a very, very polarizing game. Then we get some more consistency with colors, or at least we did until a lot of people got to revisit it with the new awful remaster and realized, this game's actually kind of mid. Of course, there's still people that love it, but once again, it's still a polarizing game. Sonic Generations, the game released after Colors, is actually consistent and still is consistent and will probably always be consistently agreed to be great, and that's good. But the game after that, Sonic Lost World, is once again extremely polarizing. And finally, the two latest mainline game releases in the Sonic franchise, which it's kind of poetic to be honest, because on the same year, only months apart, we got one of the greatest Sonic games ever made and one of the worst. How ironic considering the point about Sonic being divisive I've been trying to make all this time. Sonic Mania, a return to form, a game that takes everything the classics did well and makes it better. And Sonic Forces, a game that is literally the definition of mediocre. It takes everything from the previous Boost titles and just makes it worse for no fucking reason. So where does Frontier come into play here? Well, just look at this. Now I'm gonna predict that after seeing that, there were two types of reactions. First, oh my god, I'm so hyped. This looks so good, guys. Guys, the Sonic Renaissance is happening. And, looks fine, I guess. I fall under the second camp, and I feel other than blind hype, there is zero reason to have so much faith in this game. Let's analyze this trailer, shall we? Because I believe Sonic Frontiers will be just like most other Sonic games. A game that might have one or two things that are genuinely amazing about it while being filled with aspects that prevent it from being universally considered a good game. So there's a couple aspects of this trailer I want to cover. First, I want to cover issues that I can point at the trailer for evidence, and then I'll cover the issues that fall more into the category of speculation. Let's start with one of my biggest gripes, the emptiness of the world. Throughout the trailer, there are many scenes in which we can see way off into the distance. By looking at these scenes, what we see is an extremely lifeless and empty world. Don't get me wrong, there is shit in it. A bunch of random grind rails and copy-pasted structures, but that does not make the world be filled with meaningful content, and it certainly doesn't make it full of life. The world in Sonic Frontiers will lack distinct, interesting structures and locations that make exploring fun. It'll all be a bunch of generic, techie, shrine-like bullshit and copy-pasted Sonic obstacles. The second issue I found from watching the trailer is the lack of coherent obstacles in the environment. Now, I don't know about you, but one of my favorite things about Sonic used to be how, unlike in other platformers like Mario, most of the obstacles you did the platforming on were coherent parts of the environment. In SA2's Green Forest, the grind rails are these vines growing on trees. In Sonic 3 and Knuckles, everything you jump on, every obstacle you face, is a coherent piece of the environment. In the adventure games, while sometimes there would be floating platforms in the air, there was still an attempt to make floating platforms at the very least blend in with the rest of the level's setting. From Colors onward, we started getting really blocky platforming, but at the very least, the game still tried to blend these with the level. A lot of the times they failed, but they tried. In Sonic Frontiers, you traverse a world filled with nonsensical floating grind rails and random springs, random dash pads, random platforms you can probably utilize some sort of wall running system on, random floating red rings you can launch yourself off of, and much more random incoherent shit plopped into the beautiful Unreal Engine 4 kite demo. Seriously, look at this shitty video from 2015.
Woohoo! Yahoo!
Tell me it doesn't give you serious Frontier vibes. I mean, the fucking music and everything. Jesus Christ. Okay, so while writing this video, a 7-minute gameplay showcase for Frontiers came out, and most of the points that were gonna fall under the speculation category have now been provided a lot more evidence. And I'm also changing my thesis for this video from Sonic Frontiers looks mid to Sonic Frontiers looks awful. Yeah. I didn't change the title because the first half of this fucking mess is just me explaining why Sonic is technically a mid-as-fuck franchise because of how polarizing all the games are, even though it makes me sad to say that, since I love the franchise very, very much. But yeah, this game's gonna be fucking bad. Okay, so let's talk about the lack of a distinct art style found in this game. I already made the Unreal Engine 4 joke, so I'm gonna try to refrain myself from spamming the shit out of the "this looks like Unreal Engine 4 generic terrain" line. Here we have a game that is an amalgamation of every fucking clone trying to recreate the success of Breath of the Wild. We've got the grass, we've got the fucking landscape shot, we got the fucking techie sort of ancient structures and enemies, and of course, the soothing, calming piano music. The best way I can describe the look of this game is by just saying, okay, so imagine Breath of the Wild, but you sap every single ounce of soul out of it, and you get Sonic Frontiers. Now for the thing everyone hates hearing people bitch about. The graphical and technical issues. Why? Because bro, it's not even the finished game yet, bro. Jeez. You're right, but I've been dealing with Sega and Sonic Team's shit all my fucking life, and I can safely say it does not matter that it's not the final game because the game will most likely have some sort of technical issue at launch. And we can theorize what those issues might be by looking at the gameplay we have now. Let's list the issues, shall we? So the first issue is the frame rate. Throughout the trailer, we see various frame frame rate drops, which is not very good when you have a game that looks as dry, bland, empty, and generic as this one. The second issue is the pop-in. Just watch the trailer, there are several instances of very ugly pop-in. Holy shit, I just love it when random grind rails manifest in the sky. Now, other open world games have some pop-in, like Elden Ring for example, but at least that game, you know, doesn't look like the Windows XP screensaver. Okay, so the final issue is the constant stutter. I don't really gotta talk about this one, just watch the trailer and you'll notice. Alright, so now let's get to the good stuff. You know what I love about Sonic games? Escaping a floating military prison by jumping on a giant missile and using one of the scraps of that missile to snowboard inside of it, all while listening to some bombastic, fast-paced music. Or, you know what else I love about Sonic? Exploring a mysterious ancient temple filled with traps and puzzles, all to finally be able to take a peek outside that temple and realize you're in a completely different world. I love running across the icy seas of Alaska, speeding through icebergs, and eventually running across a giant whale. Well, prepare for Sonic Frontiers, where most of the content will take place in generic, techie structures and generic ancient ruins. Get ready to travel an empty world and hop on grind rails, jump through rings, climb up walls, and more importantly, touch dash pads for the most engaging freeform Sonic level design you've ever seen. If this game does end up having segments that are actual levels, I can assure you they won't be much better than Forces' levels. There will be very few engaging set pieces, and the level design will be passable at best. So how about those juicy open world activities, huh? What kind of shenanigans can we get up to? Will it be a fun playground like Sonic Utopia or Sonic Green Hill Paradise Act 2? Nah, here's some generic puzzles. Hey, why don't you go climb this tower, not by using an engaging physics engine or performing interesting platforming, but by doing context-sensitive wall running. Let's go. Oh, you want more dash pads? Here, take them. Seriously, the game can't fucking trust you to move from here to here. They put fucking dash pads, bro. Don't forget the automatic grind rails. So fucking fun. What else is there? Oh yeah, run on this treadmill to fill in the map of this generic area. Who knows, maybe you can attack some balloons and get a collectible. Fight random generic looking enemies in the world with a combat system I'm pretty sure will be pretty repetitive, but I got no evidence of that. Now, there does seem to be one kind of semi-meaningful open world activity, and it's these floating pyramids. We haven't seen gameplay of them yet, but from a distance they seem to function the same way as the towers, but a little bit more challenging. Jump from automated obstacle to automated obstacle and make your way through the obstacle course. Seriously, why is this game so filled with fucking grind rails? Jesus. Okay, now for the big one, the physics engine. So yeah, this latest gameplay showcase all but confirmed that this game will be using the Forces physics, or a slight variation of them, although they seem like they're the same to me. Just pay attention to how Sonic abruptly comes to a halt. Pay attention to the way he accelerates, the way he jumps, the way he double jumps. The trick system, oh god, the trick system. Why is the momentum just halted abruptly in the air when he does tricks? And why are these animations so bad and stiff? It feels so awkward. Why is the stomp just its own action that completely stops everything? Why doesn't it flow into Sonic's other actions like running? None of Sonic's moves flow into each other. They're all just separate things Sonic can do with no synergy at all. Jumping keeps barely any of his momentum. There's no player expression at all. There's no fluidity. No way to make the movement engaging on its own, instead relying on the novelty of, oh my god, look, there's so much shit to jump on and play with so many fucking rings and grind rails. That's the only way to go faster. Hills and slopes mean nothing. It's literally just Sonic Forces gameplay plopped into an open world. The homing attack is just as stiff as ever. In fact, it's much more stiff than in Unleashed or Colors because it's the fucking Forces homing attack. Why is this game so fucking lazy? Why do Sega and Sonic Team never fucking learn? And why are people acting like this doesn't look terrible? A tech demo used to see what the Hedgehog Engine 2 could do. This game looks awful, and I'm tired of people blindly being hyped and acting like this is gonna be the best 3D Sonic game just because it's a fucking open world with grass. Stop settling for such simple shit, people. Open your fucking eyes. Now, thankfully, there's a lot of people who are smart and not blindly following the hype and acting like this looks great. I don't think it's the majority of people who are blindly saying this looks amazing, but still, The people who are supporting this and praising what Sega's doing need to see this fucking video. They need to listen to someone tell them the fucking truth. This isn't simply a showcase video. This is how the final project will be if you support it and praise it. Sega isn't gonna take 3 more years of development for this game. They want to release it in 2022, and it'll be rushed unless we outrage for it to be delayed, not to 2023, but at the very least to 2024. This game looks completely and fundamentally flawed. The only thing that will save it is a full revamp of the entire game. If that doesn't happen, if Sega still releases this game in 2022, we'll get another extremely mediocre Sonic game with no soul at best, or another Sonic 06 at worst. Hello, welcome to the end of video segment. I just want to thank all of you who made it this far for putting up with 15 minutes of me bitching about Sonic the fucking Hedgehog. That's really nice of you, and if you did, I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe and like the video and leave a comment too while you're at it. With that said, I just want to clear some things out. A lot of information for Frontier is coming out now, so some of these things might become outdated. If they do, I'll be sure to make another video about it, correcting myself or just adding more to the conversation. But this is it for the Sonic Frontier stuff for now. So yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.